I feel like basketball has such a huge pull in the world. So once we start the conversation, people have to start coming in and listening.
Making basketball like a safe space for everyone.
We want everybody, once you step in those lines, you can just totally be yourself, be accepted.
From a personal standpoint, it means so much to know that like my male counterparts support my existence just as much as, you know, my female counterparts.
We're here to accept you for who you are. We have no other thing other than we just want to enjoy time and play basketball with you.
What's up, guys? This is Under the Surface. I'm your host, Anneli Maley. We're back. And today our guest is Marcus Lee from Melbourne United. Thank you for joining us, Marcus.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm very excited for it.
Well, the theme around this episode is about Pride Round, NBL Pride Round, and kind of what that means to you and all that jazz. But I'll start with how's your day going? What have you been up to today?
It's been a good day. We have the sun's out. You see it. We're kind of just enjoying the sun. You never really know what's going on in Melbourne. So once you get the warmth, we're all just outside. But, we've had our morning workouts and getting ready to travel towards you tomorrow. So
I was going to say, you're talking about the sun. I was just saying that it's like 42 degrees here today. You kind of melt as soon as you step outside. So prepare for that as you get off the plane, I guess.
We have our practice gym is literally just like a tent of aluminum. So it's just boiling. So we're prepared.
Do you do that intentionally when you like go to travel to hot places? Like you make your training facility super warm?
No, I wish we could. I really wish we could so we can put the aircon on, but no, It just right when we get there, it's just boiling all the time.
Nice. Before I get into the questions about Pride Round, I wanted to ask you something about like you first. What is your at the moment current escape from basketball, escape from work? Because I know basketball is all consuming. What's your you time? What is that for you?
Right now, I guess this year, my escape time has been my wife. We've been married for 6 months, so I say, as of now, we kind of just stop talking. We don't talk about basketball in the house. You gotta just enjoy each other's time. We'll cook together and we'll play either Mario Party or Mario Kart on the Switch. You will decompress that way.
Nice. That's always good. It's not. Do you have has that always been a rule for you? When you're living with other people, no basketball in the house, no basketball talk, or that's new?
It's been like that since I was a kid because most of my brothers played, and everybody wants to critique something, either it's parents or older brothers. So from a young age, I was like, once we hit the house, we're not talking about it. We can talk about it in the car ride, but once we hit the home, I'm tired of it. I don't want to hear about it at all. If it's a win or a loss, it's over. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
I kind of like that though. You got to kick the separation for sure. Okay. I'll start with asking you, I'm not sure if you've ever played in a Pride Round before, but what does the NBL's Pride Round mean to you, and what is your kind of connection to it?
Actually, my first Pride Round was, I want to say, a couple weeks after one of my good friends, Isaac Humphreys, came out, which was epic timing because I was flying in right when he was calling our team, which was epic, and it was great because I've known him for going on almost 10 years now. Man, we're old, but
realization of your age.
I know it hurts every time we bring it up, but we're chatting right before I get on the plane. We're like, how ironic and how perfect can this be for someone so close to him, someone he trusts, to joining his team in a moment like that, and then for Pride Round to pop up. So I feel like it's been always just great timing for everything around Pride, the Pride time.
Yeah. And so, have you ever, in any other, because you've played all around the world, have you ever experienced any sort of Pride Round outside of the NBL's environment, or not really?
No, not really. I feel like this is the only place I feel like that's ever done it. Most of Europe doesn't have it. But I really love that that the NBL took the initiative to start it. I feel like basketball has such a huge pull in the world, and it takes everybody's sight, especially since we're so big. That so
Mhm.
once we start the conversation, people have to start coming in and listening, and I think that's the biggest part.
Yeah, I guess like the whole kind of the way that I see it is like making basketball like a safe space for everyone. Like there's enough exclusion in the world and there's enough hate in the world. And to make basketball feel like a safe space for everyone involved, I guess that is like important to me. But like speak to that, like basketball being a safe and inclusive space. Like what does that mean to you?
I totally agree. I mean, you can attest, we could have a terrible day, a breakup, or something crazy happen in our actual world, but we all know once we like hit those like inside those lines, the world goes away. We're in a bubble where like nothing terrible can happen to us. You know, the work like we can miss a shot, we're running, like we're pretty much a free butterfly at that point, and no one knows. And I
Mhm.
think that's what we're really trying to share. We want everybody, once you step in those lines, you can just totally be yourself, be accepted, and not have to worry about anything else that's happening in the world. And that's the biggest thing. That I've always had that feeling when I come play basketball, and that's what we all want to share.
And I guess like a message to the fans and the people that come and watch the game of basketball, but especially during Pride Round, like what's your message to the fans around that? Because I know that that can cultivate a bit of unrest between people that come and watch the games. Like what would you say to them about how to best support this round of basketball?
I think the best thing that I think I personally will want to convey is that I just want to share the calmness and the joy and the acceptingness that the game of basketball has always given me. I mean, like you said, I've been all around the world. I've met many different people, and I think just the ability to accept people and celebrate people is the biggest thing. And I think that's one thing sports does. I mean, it's hard with sports because sports is always that, oh, you're if you get cut, you're supposed to stand up and stand tall. You're not supposed to show fear.
Yeah.
But I think there's strength in vulnerability and being able to be open with the people that you're trusting so much already with, that just so you can, enjoy the life of basketball.
I think it's really quite powerful, if I'm being honest, like the idea that there is like the allies of the LGBTQIA plus community, like being like male athletes that are at the peak of their performance. It's also kind of like the peak of masculinity in a lot of people's eyes to be a straight male playing a professional sport, but then to support that community, like that means like, I mean, from a personal standpoint, it means so much to know that like my male counterparts support my existence just as much as, my female counterparts. So like, I think that's like, it's a really cool thing. And I guess as, like a heterosexual male being able to, kind of speak up for people that don't necessarily feel comfortable to do so, for the younger kids watching that don't feel like basketball is a place for them, what would you say to those kids?
I think we've heard this quite a lot this year. I don't know if everybody has, but especially at Melbourne United, we've really been saying, especially at our camps, at our functions, it's basketball's for everybody. And
Mm.
that really stuck out with me. I'm like, you don't have to be a massive person. You don't like, you can be short, you can be fast, you can be tall, you can be any shape, size, and you can be great at basketball. Like, and we've seen people the size of Shaq. We've seen Jordan Crawford. Like, we've seen all of these people of different sizes and people of different parts of the world, where it is literally for anybody and everybody that wants to pick up the basketball. And we we want to make it known that we're here to accept you for who you are, and we have no other thing other than we just want to enjoy time and play basketball with you.
Yeah. And then being like an ally or like having someone in your life, whoever that may be at the time, like maybe coming out or like sharing that they have a different gender identity or whatever it may be that makes them feel different. How do you support? What's your advice to support the people in your life when they do come to you with something like that, or they do like come out in that sense?
I think the first thing, and I'm always learning myself. I think one of the first things is just being able to listen and kind of, it's going to be like at first you might not truly understand, but the hardest part is just listening. And because that's all they really want at the moment. It's like, hey, just listen to what I have to say, because just saying it out loud is hard in itself.
Mhm.
And to be that person to just sit there and listen and be just a comfortable space for them is a big thing in itself. And I think that's always the first step, is just to sit down and be willing to listen to whoever it may be in your life.
Have you ever had a moment in your career where you haven't felt, or maybe not just like your professional career, but throughout your basketball journey, where you haven't felt accepted in a space? And how did that affect you? Like, not because of anything in particular, but like, do you kind of get what I'm asking? Like,
No,
a moment, like you felt like you didn't belong somewhere?
no, I definitely get that. And um, one of the biggest things for me actually was I went to college at the University of Kentucky. I'm originally from San Francisco. Kentucky's in the South, and historically, it's a very scary place for African Americans.
Mhm.
And it was my first time pretty much in the South at all. And my mom was terrified, my dad was terrified, and I was like, I don't really know how I'm gonna fit
Yeah.
going there, you know. I'm a very open, and I accept whatever's going to happen, and I see the positivity and everything, but it was a very terrifying moment for me to fly there by myself into, in my mind, a hostile place.
Yeah.
But I think once I got there, and I want to say could be similar, is once you get over that hump of telling somebody. And for me, it was just once I got there, it
Yeah.
wasn't as bad as what I was thinking it would have been.
Yeah.
And I think that's always been a semi-scary thing in my life, is how people would accept me in that way. Um, and then the same thing went for me and my wife are interracial.
Yeah.
So that's another big thing. Like, how do we tell people about, like, how do we bring this, like, it's kind of a hard thing. And um those are some of the things that I've had to deal with, that I makes me more accepting for everybody else in positions similar that I would have to deal with.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess like it definitely it changes your experience when you've had to go through something in a place where you haven't felt welcome, or you felt like a level of fear about your surroundings, like you don't fit this cookie cutter of what people expect you to be. It does help your ability to then like just accept people as they are. And speaking like to your experience, like I think that it's a really cool thing that you were able to experience like something really hard and not then project that onto other people. You know, like sometimes when people experience something difficult in that way and then they actually harden up and accept less,
You're right.
so I do think that that's a really special thing, that you've been able to then just like stay open and be able to like accept people as they are, because the world can be a really scary place, and it is full of a lot of hate and a lot of like boxes that we put ourselves in and other people put us in. And I think that if we can keep basketball at least as a space where there is no boxes and no borders and all of that stuff, I do think that that's a pretty cool thing. I guess to, sorry, not to get sidetracked, but to your last story, like to talk about like the things that you've been through in your life. Um, what is, other than like just kind of what you said, but what is your advice to that young guy who's about to get on a plane to an environment where he doesn't feel like he's welcome? What is your advice to someone in that situation? Like applying it to, like, could be a young guy, a young girl, could be anything, but how do you not let the fear consume you?
I Lily, I was gonna answer this question before you even asked it, which is funny. I think the biggest thing is realizing there's a lot of love in the world that we don't broadcast it enough. But there's a lot of love, and I think that's the biggest thing that really got me is right when I got to Kentucky, I was drowned in love and in acceptance and passion that I never saw, that I really just all I to this day still live in Kentucky
Yeah.
when I go home. And I think that's just about in almost everything. Like there's a lot of things that can put fear into you, whether it's coming out or trying new things. I think there's more love and compassion in the world that we just are not giving its credit.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like that. That's actually a really, really good answer because we do. I mean, like fear mongering and the state of the world and all those things. Like it's so much easier to look at the things that scare us than look at look at the light or look at the things that feed us love. I don't know why we're wired like that. I think as athletes, sometimes we tend to see challenges more than we see like successes. So maybe that's why our brains work that way.
Mhm.
I'm not actually 100% sure, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I do really appreciate like I had said before, like when we had first talked about like talking to someone from any team, I was kind of like, are there going to be any guys that put their hand up that aren't part of that community? You know, like
Mhm.
someone for it is just so special. And again, I was speaking to my brother about this, and he plays AFL for North Melbourne, and he was saying that like they always talk about that the most important supporter is someone that's not a part of the group. So the most important supporter of the LGBTQI plus community is the people that see themselves as allies and the people that can uplift people that have experienced something that makes them not feel welcome. So I personally really appreciate you just like talking a little bit about what Pride Round means to you, but also like then putting in your own experience of like, you know what it feels like not to be welcome. So like then just continuing to welcome people. I think that's like a pretty special thing. The last thing I'll ask you is like, is there anything that you want to add before we part ways? And I'll see you tomorrow anyway. When, but like, is there anything that you want to add about all of it, or like anything that you want to kind of end on?
I would like to say whoever sees this and is thinking about coming out or making a debate or how they would like to or who they would like to, I would say make the jump. Tell a friend, tell someone you feel completely comfortable with, even if it's a small jump. Your bubble around you will definitely surprise you, and that's what we're trying to build out in here in sports. Is we're trying to be that safe and comfort space, whether you're a fan or a player or a staff member. We want to build that place where you feel like that this place is for me.
Hell yeah. Love that. That was Under the Surface. And I'm Anneli Maley. We had our guest, Marcus Leon, talking about all things Pride Round, but appreciate you. And yeah, we'll see you soon.
Perfect. And anytime you want to do this, I'm here for you.